What's up, you guys? It is your boy JB, and we are here today. We got 3 videos to do, so this is going to be the first one, which is The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 11, Episode number 14, and the episode was titled, Lips Unsealed. Girl, unsealed? By who? Not Renna, not Dorit. Dorit's lips should have been sealed in this episode. Dorit's lips should have been sealed. Baby, I'm going off on Dorit when I get to Dorit Kemsley, because I got a lot of shit to say about Dorit. But we're going to talk about Dorit in a little bit. Doritos, or should I? That's what I'm going to call her. Doritos. We're going to talk about Miss Doritos. But without further ado, you guys, let's get into this review. Actually, before we get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on my channel and are not yet subscribed to the channel, then I'm going to need you guys to do me a big solid favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell button, hit all the buttons, light them all up on the channel. Now, let's get into the review of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Alright, you guys, so I'm going to start up with the stuff that doesn't need a lot of attention. Renna. So, Renna has her daughters there, right? And she is Delilah and it's, what is that other girl's name? Child, I never remember her kids' names. It's Amelia and Delilah. That's it. So they're at her house and they're looking through. You guys remember in that one episode where Renna was in the garage and she was on FaceTime with one of the girls, showing them her old dresses that she's worn before, right? So they're there, and and Delilah's there with her boyfriend. I believe he's from that show Love Island. I can't remember. I told you guys in a review. Don't remember because I don't watch the damn show. So they're trying on the dresses, and I will say though that I will say one thing about those girls, right? Those girls looked great in those dresses. I will give them that. You know, with Renna, because I know what Renna's game was originally with Amelia and Delilah, and I've said it before, right? That Amelia, what Renna wanted for Amelia and Delilah was to be like Bella and Gigi. And I think if Renna had not fucked up her relationship with Yolanda, I think if she had not fucked up their relationship with Yolanda with the Munchausen situation, I think Yolanda could have helped her to get, Amelia and Delilah where Bella and Gigi are, which actually isn't Delilah a model? Delilah's a model. I think actually both of them are models, but they just don't have the notoriety and the fame that the Hadid sisters have. They don't have, like, people know the Hadid sisters, but people don't know what is their last name? They're Hamlins, right? They don't know the Hamlin sisters, right? They don't know the Hamlin sisters or the Renna sisters, whichever ones they are. I think they're Hamlins. But they don't know, people don't know them the way that they know the Hadid girls. And they're both, all four of them are gorgeous girls. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, the Hadid sisters look better than them. They're all gorgeous girls. But like I said, because Renna, like I said, Renna wanted them to be like Gigi and Bella. But like I said, that Munchausen disease shit fucked it up, right? So Renna, they're talking about Renna's lip line, Renna Beauty, which I don't give a shit about. Sorry, Renna, love you, but I don't give a shit about your lip line. Go, shut up. Don't say that. So Renna tells them that Crystal is going to be throwing a party for her lip line. So that's that. We're going to talk about that party in just a little bit, right, you guys? So let's move on. All right, you guys, let's talk about Erica real quick. And this ain't going to be real quick. Let's talk about Erica. So Erica is at her house, right? It's Kyle's birthday, so Kyle and Renna come over to the house. She was there vacuuming. I'm like, oh, so Erica is trying to, I think Erica is doing it now, because you guys remember at the beginning of the season, I kept saying Erica should do something like I call modesty. So now I think Erica is now playing that role of modesty. I think she's finally playing that role of I'm modest. Like I clean my house now. I do this for myself. I think Erica is now on that tip of modesty. But I think it's a little bit too little. It's a little too late, right? It's too little too late at this point, right? So like I said, Erica is having Kyle and Renna over, right? So Erica tells them, that things are very bizarre for her right now. Now, I'm not going to sit here and knock her, right? Because I would imagine that shit has to be bizarre, right? That your husband is being accused of taking money from, from burn victims, cancer patients, people who died in motor, like that is the, I mean, I'm actually with Garcelle. Fuck Tom. And my thing is with these women, like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you know, Eric, I'm not going to come down on Erica, right? Because, but the thing is with Erica is not the victim. The victims are the victims. Like, I want these women to stop doing that. That's my issue with these women. You guys are overlooking the victims. The victims are getting pushed to the wayside. And that's an issue for me. You're about to have an accident. That's a big issue for me, right? These victims are being overlooked. Like, Tom took money from them. And this is all alleged, right? Tom took money from these victims. One of them, a burn victim. His house burned. His girlfriend was in the house. She died. He is alive. He didn't even get he got $1 million out of his $20 million settlement. That's fucked up. The woman whose son died in the motorcycle accident. You took money from a woman whose son who died in an accident. You took money from a burn victim. You took money from the plane crash victims. Like, you took so much money from people. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and shit on Erica. I'm not going to shit on Erica. That's not who I am, and that's not what I want to do. But what I want these people to, I want them to one thing do, acknowledge the victims. Acknowledge the victims. Erica is not a victim in this at all. And that's what the issue is. They keep making Erica the victim and overlooking the actual victims. And I just don't like that. I can't rock with that. And the one person who's doing that the most is Renna. Renna, what would you do if that was your kids? How would you feel? Like, put your, and I think that's the issue I'm having with these people, right? Their lack of empathy. It's the lack of empathy. It is the complete lack of empathy for me. I don't get it. How can you not empathize with these people? Now, yes, Erica is your friend, but at the same time, you got to be like, you know what, friend? I love you, right? But this is not good at all. Like, the stuff that Tom has been accused of, I can't turn a blind eye to that. And that's what these women are doing. Turning a blind eye to it. And like I said, it's pissing me the fuck off. So Renna says that, you know, she's talked to some of the girls. So they show us a footage of her talking with not Kyle, but with Dorito and with Sutton. So Kyle says, they say that, Renna says that she believes that the girls are nervous because they didn't ask what they wanted to know. And Kyle says that Sutton, she doesn't want any legal issues, and she doesn't want any legal issues or social issues. And Erica's like, Miss Country doesn't want any social issues. Well, I mean, I wouldn't either, girl. I know it ain't nothing. I know that it ain't got shit to do with me. But like I said last week, people are gonna look at you. They're gonna say that you are the company that you keep, right? They're gonna be like, damn. So Sutton. So you knew about this stuff with Eric and Tom, right? So you didn't ever call her out on her shit? You didn't ever say, damn, Erica, like, do you know if Tom did this? Do you know if this is true? Do you know this or this or that? And he was like, I was just defending a friend. Oh, okay. I see you for who you are, and I must distance myself from you. Boom. That's what she doesn't want to happen. That's what she doesn't want to happen. It's not that she doesn't want, and I know it's a social thing, but it's basically like I said, you're kind of guilty for associating with a person like that. It's the court of public opinions. That's what it is. But Erica, you know, she feels like, whatever, Sutton. Erica, girl, you would feel the same way, girl. Stop playing me for a fool. So here's where Erica lost me in this episode. So they talk about the cheating with Tom, right? Erica says that Erica, girl, you're not that good of a liar. Like, I'm really looking at this season, and I'm seeing that Erica's not a good liar. Because I was, when she said it, I was like, huh? So she said that she found out that Tom was cheating back when she was at Yolanda's apartment. Now, I'm going to need you to straighten this wheel up and not back up any further. Now, Yolanda's apartment. Yolanda hasn't been on Housewives for quite some time at this point. It's been years since Yolanda was on Housewives. And correct me if I'm wrong, but before Yolanda even left the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, actually it was her last season, wasn't it? I think it was her last season. Her and David were not together anymore. And that was Erica's first season. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive. Because I'm almost positive. Now, like I said, I know these housewives. I know if there's any housewives that I know like the back of my hand, it is Beverly. I know Beverly Hills. I know Atlanta. I know Potomac. Now Salt Lake City. I know Dallas. Even though Dallas is no longer with us right now. Like, I know those like the back of my hand. I can tell you something happened. But I'm almost positive Yolanda's last season is when she and David were not together anymore. And that's when she was in her apartment. It is. It is. I know I'm right. Because the one thing that everyone talked about was Yolanda's kitchen. You guys remember her refrigerator. I will never forget Yolanda's refrigerator. Loved her refrigerator. Oh my God. Yolanda had the baddest refrigerator at that house with David. I remember it because people were talking about how she downsized, right? I'm almost positive her last season on the show, which I believe was Erica's first season, because I'm almost positive that Yolanda is the one that introduced Erica to the group. Girl, Erica. Okay. But she said she went home and looked through his phone. Kyle says she should have left him. I'm like, exactly. If he's cheating on you, why didn't you leave? You don't have a prenup. She's like, but I wouldn't have gotten anything, just like I'm not getting anything now. The reason you're not getting anything now, Erica, is because his assets are frozen. I don't know what to believe with Erica. I like you guys. I've told you plenty of times. I like Erica, but I just don't know what to believe with this situation. I know she's not a good liar, but let's move on and wrap up. Well, we're not going to wrap up. We're going to talk about Kyle, and then we're going to wrap up. Damn, I should have done Kyle first, huh? All right, guys, let's talk about Kyle. So Kyle, she went over to Kathy's house, right? So Kathy is going to be throwing a party for all the ladies. Baby, when they showed how much those centerpieces were, that candlestick holder, I'm like, it must be amazing to be Kathy Hilton. Hell, it must be amazing to be any of these women, right? With the exception of Erica at this point. It must be amazing to be these women, just to spend $900 on something, $900,000. Baby, it must be amazing to be them. I would love to be them. I would love to just have one day in their shoes. If I had the amount of money any of these ladies had, with the exception of Erica, no shade to you, Erica, but if I had any ounce of the money that these women have, see, I'm not a flashy type person. For me, I can go for modesty, right? I don't care about material things. I realized I knew this before, but after my mother died, that's when I really stopped caring about material things. That's when material items no longer held any value to me. Now, I still do buy myself nice things, but the things that I buy, I just buy things because I like to have nice stuff. But it doesn't mean anything to me, right? But it was just when my mom died, it let me know there are so many more important things in life than what you buy. It's the people that you surround yourself with. It's the people that you say you love, right? And that's actually a good point for me to talk about with Kyle and with Kathy, right? You realize you can buy material things. It can get stolen. It can get burned. Anything can happen to it, right? You can replace that easily. But someone that you love, they're irreplaceable, right? And like I said, that was for me the moment. Because I've even said it plenty of times. Like, I would trade everything that I have in this world, every worldly possession that I have, I would literally trade it in a heartbeat just to have one final moment with my mother, right? I would trade it in. I would trade everything. I would trade this car I have. I would trade this phone. I would trade my MacBook. I would trade anything that I have of value. My TVs, my bedroom set, like all that shit that I have. This shirt, these pants, these Ivy Park pants that I have on, like I would trade all of this shit just for one moment or two with my mother. So Kathy, they're talking about the party, right? And they talk about what happened at the party, the party that happened at Crystal's, right? Crystal, not Crystal, but Kathy wasn't listening to what happened. So I don't have to dig deep into it because we're going to talk about it in just a minute. So then Kathy and, Kyle talk about their issues. So you guys know that Kathy, Kyle, and Kim, they all have, they're sisters, right? So sisters are siblings in general. They're going to fight, right? But, you guys remember when Kyle did that show American Woman, Kathy had issues with it, and she said it on the show that Kathy had some issues with it, right? And I guess Kathy's issues were she felt like the show was painting her mother in a bad light, and I can see that, right? I would, like with my life, I would never want to do a show about my life, and then I see it would break my heart, right? It would tear my heart. It would tear me up, like if I was to do a show about my life, right? And then some writer and producer be like, "Oh, that's not good enough for us. We got to tweak this up. We got to add something to it. We got to say, this is your real life. This is based off of your life, but we're gonna say, hey, your mom was addicted to drugs, or your mom was a prostitute, or something like that." I would be upset and I would be hurt. I'd be like, absolutely, you are not telling that story, because that's not who my mother was. You're not going to sit here and make a mockery and disgrace my mother's name. Like, you're not going to have people in the press talking shit about my mother. So I got where Kathy was coming from, right? And Kathy says, I wouldn't have done it without talking to you. And then, Kim, and why do I keep wanting to say Kim? I do miss Kim on this show, but Kim, I said it before even Renna big ass mouth said. Now see, that season when Renna said Kim was on death's door, I'm like, Renna, now that's pushing it a little too far. But I will say the one thing that Renna and I actually both said the same thing. I never said that Kim was at death's door, because I didn't think she was at death's door, but I knew Kim wasn't sober. I knew every time at the reunion when Andy would ask if she was sober, she said yes. I'm like, Kim, you're lying, love. You're not sober. You're not acting like somebody who's sober. And, especially after that one reunion, and she got arrested. Did she get arrested? I know she was on TMZ, because I saw it. I'm like, oh, poor Kim. But if Kim, I really just want Kim to get, I hope and pray that Kim is getting help and that Kim is clean, right? But Kyle was in her interview talking about she and Kathy, and she broke down crying, and I really broke down crying when Kathy talked, because the producers said, with the 10 years that you and Kyle weren't talking, what's your biggest regret? She says, not being with her sister. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I broke down crying. I'm gonna tell you guys why I actually cried. Because, and it's not something that I did, right? But I don't know if I've told you guys. I know I've told you guys that I'm adopted, right? Within my family. But I have 3 brothers and I have a sister, right? And I have a brother that is older than me. He's the oldest of all of us, right? And my brother and I, we've been estranged for the last, oh God, how long have we been estranged? I think we've been estranged for almost 8 years at this point. 8 or 9. It's 8 or 9 years at this point that we've been estranged, that we have not talked to each other. And before it actually happened, what happened is my biological mother and I, we got into a little bit of a disagreement, right? And I sent my brother a text message telling him like, hey, I know that me and her got into a disagreement, but I sent him a text message saying, hey, I don't want this to come in between you and I, right? And at that point he had blocked me from texting him. So I was like, okay, that's fine. it didn't hurt. It didn't bother me because I'm like, you got involved in something that had nothing to do with you. That's what I was trying to tell him. Like, I don't want us to fall out over something that I didn't say. I didn't say anything to you. I didn't disrespect you. So I don't want us to fall out, right? So then, that happened in 2014. And then fast forward to 2017, the year that my mom died, right? I was at the point where I was like, let me, my mom is not here, right? So let me let me just bring more people into my life. I don't have to be friendly with you. I don't have to like you. I don't have to, be anything but cordial with you, right? So my biological mother and I, we got to the point where that's what we said. We'll just be cordial with each other. If we're around each other, we'll speak to each other, right? And I told her, well, you can give my phone number to, ooh, excuse me, y'all. My bad, didn't mean to burp in your face. I told her, you can give my number to, my brother, my older brother, and my younger brothers, and my sister. She wanted to talk to me. Now, my little sister, at that time, she was a kid. She was in her mid-teens, like she's probably about 15, 16 at that time. So I didn't really expect her to call me much. And she's kind of like me. She's a little socially awkward. My eyes are watering. I'm not crying. My eyes started watering. I don't know why. I don't know where my eye watered. In this eye particularly. That's interesting. That my eye watered. But so I told her, give them my phone number. And, my two younger brothers, they called me to check on me, right? See how I was doing. My older brother never called me. And that was 2017, and I still haven't heard from him yet. Knowing that my mom passed away, he never reached out to me. So it was at that point, he nor my maternal grandmother, neither one of them reached out to me to see how I was doing. And at that time, it hurt me a lot. It really did hurt me, right? It's like, damn, I'm your brother and your grandson, and you can't even be bothered to reach out to me and ask me if I'm okay. You couldn't be bothered with that, right? But here's the funny thing with my maternal grandmother, right? I do have a Facebook page. I don't use it, you guys. So that's why I never talk about it. But the funny thing is, 2019, she sent me a friend request on Facebook, and I was hella confused by that. I'm like, why would you wait 2 years later to send me a friend request? And she's still pending. I'm not going to accept her because I felt like if you guys really wanted to talk to me, you guys would have reached out to me in 2017. You guys didn't even come to the funeral. Doesn't make sense to me. But hey, it's my, it is what it is. But let's move on, you guys, and get to the mess. All right, you guys, let's talk about Crystal. So like I said before, Crystal is throwing the party for Rena. So Crystal, she had Dorito over to her place, right? And they're talking. And, Dorito's talking about how she loves the fact that Crystal is posting traditional meals on Instagram. There go the other eye watering. What the heck is going on? It might be this air blowing in my eye. So then they talk about the party that they had at Kyle's house, right? And Dorito says Erica was a shell of herself, and I don't think that was the perfect time to pounce on her. And Crystal says, well, I'm not going to say that I don't disagree. But she also says, but there was never going to be a good time. I'm like, exactly. So there's no time like, as the old saying goes, there's no time like the present, right? So then Dorito says I feel like Garcelle is throwing jabs at me at this point. She says, I believe that Garcelle has an issue with me, but Garcelle won't say it to me. Dorito, I'm going to need you to shut the fuck up. So we get to the party. The backyard looks nice. All the ladies are to show up, right? So all the ladies look nice. The only thing I will say is I hated Garcelle's wig. 1000% hated that wig, right? So Dorit, you're not slick at all because you turned to Crystal and said, Garcelle, The food was amazing. And they were like, she's like, I'm Crystal, that's Garcelle. Garcelle and Crystal were sitting across from each other. And she says, speaking of you, Garcelle, I feel that, I have an issue because I feel that you have been taking jobs at me that don't really sit well with me. And I would like to know why you're doing it. And it kind of feels like you're bullying me. And I'm like, girl, bullying you, Dorit. So Dorit has an issue with the fact that at one point, Garcelle, they were talking about how much Dorit talks too much. She does talk too much. Then she said to her, when was this? This was in Lake Tahoe, right? This was in Lake Tahoe where Garcelle told Dorit that she didn't feel that she would take Sutton's side. Girl, that's not a big deal. Then she has an issue with the fact that when they were at Kyle's house, that Garcelle called her out on her shit, saying that, that's not what you said, right? Because, she was talking about Erica, and then we get to the party, you're all up Erica's ass. But that ain't what you were saying when you were at the party. So Garcelle called you out on your shit, and rightfully so. So I don't understand why you in your feelings about this. Like, Dorit, do you and me the biggest favor and shut the fuck up. So then let's see where we want to go with this. Where do we want to go? Okay. So Dorit says, and your tone has been very rude and obnoxious. And you're okay, girl. Don't even get me started on you, Dorit. Don't get me started on you, girl. Oh, Dorit. She tried it in this episode. So then, she like I said, she brought up everything, right? So Garcelle said, okay. If I did that, I remember. But she said, I remember that. I did say that. So she said, so it's not if. She says, nah, it's not if. I love how Garcelle laughs. She said, it's not if. Girl, it sure ain't no if. Like the fuck? Dorit really tried it for me. Oh, Dorit, girl, you tried it. So, Garcelle explained herself, right? She says, when she said the bullying, she says, Dorit, stop that shit, right? She says to Dorit, she says, I feel that, like anytime that we are all in a group and we're having a discussion, you will hijack it and take over the conversation, and it'll go on to the point that no one else can voice their opinion about what they feel. And she did that in this exact scene too. So Garcelle says, and then Garcelle says, I feel like an outsider with this group, right? So Dorit says, well, in order for you to not feel like an outsider in this group, you should be honest, and if you have a problem, say it. Well, girl, she's said it to you before, but like I said, you have issue with it. But I love the fact that the producers went down memory lane for us, right? Because Dorit has done this before. Dorit has done this with Kyle. Dorit has done this with Erica. She does this with anybody when they call her out and tell her that you talk too fucking much. Shut your fucking mouth and let me speak. So Dorit thinks that, she says, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp. Whew, that was a big one. And you guys might hear an ambulance because the ambulance just turned on this street. Actually, I think it's silent. Yeah, it's silent. So you guys won't hear. So Dorit says, I think that you do this to everyone, right? From Kyle to what was said in Palm Springs. And she says, don't do that, Dorit. Fuck you with that. Fuck you with that. Like, and then Crystal chimed in, right? Crystal says Garcelle wasn't there when Erica said not to talk about it. And Sutton chimed in and said, she said, don't mention it in front of a group. Erica says, I never said don't mention it in front of the group. Okay, Erica, girl, go off. She says, shut up. I never said don't mention it to the group. But Garcelle was right though. Fuck you, fuck. She said, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you to Dorit. Oh, the ambulance is actually pulling up in front of my car. But she said, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And that's right. Fuck you, fuck you, Dorit. Like, Dorit, fuck you. Dorit was looking for a moment. Dorit has been wanting to say something since that trip, right? Because that's why Dorit kept saying to Crystal, oh, so Erica said not to mention it, right? And she said, and Crystal kept, I love Crystal for the fact that Crystal is sticking up for Garcelle, right? I love that, right? Because Crystal was like, yes, she said don't mention it, but Garcelle wasn't there. So Garcelle didn't hear what I heard. So Garcelle didn't bring that up intentionally to hurt Erica. She didn't. And I want you to stop saying that. But here's my thing. Even if Garcelle, let's just play devil. Let's just say Garcelle did it for the fuck of it. You guys you guys told her that Erica was open and honest with you guys that entire time before she got there. So Garcelle is thinking to herself, okay, Erica, Ice Queen, she's been open and honest with the girls about what's going on and everything in her life. So you know what? She was open and honest with me. Let's be open and honest with the rest of the group. That's where Garcelle was coming from. So Dorit, 1000%. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you for that. You know, I was looking at this article and they were talking about the reason why Rinna is so defensive of Erica, right? And it all deals with their astrological sign. And I think that article was bullshit, to be quite honest with you guys. Because if you guys don't know, Erica, Dorit, and Rinna, they're all Cancers. I'm a Cancer. And the one thing about us Cancers is we are loyal people. We are loyal to a fault. Which I am. I'm loyal to a fault. But in this situation, I could not be loyal to Erica. I could not be loyal to her. I could not defend her. You guys see. You guys see it with my reviews. I've told you guys I love Erica. I've been a big fan of Erica since she came on this show, but never once in any of my reviews have I defended what has happened. What I have said is I don't believe Erica knew full well what Tom was doing, but she wasn't oblivious to it either. Like, you can miss me with that shit. She wasn't oblivious. She wasn't just this woman that he wasn't telling her anything. She knew something. She just didn't know the whole logistics about it. Even that I'm kind of questioning. But that's the review, guys. Please let me know what you guys thought about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified when I drop any ghosts, and share the video. And until the next one, you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. All right, you guys, I'm off of here, and I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you guys later for Hot Topics tomorrow, and we will do my Path of Lockup. All right, you guys, that's it. I'm off of here. Bye.